Welcome! You're listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast, creatively engineered by Nicole, the inspiration specialist. I'm Wired to Inspire is a powerfully packed 5-minute podcast filled with inspiration and encouragement to get you through your day. It's designed to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now stay tuned for your host, Nicole, the inspiration specialist, on today's episode of I'm Wired to Inspire.
It's the I'm Wired to Inspire Mentor from Afar with Nicole, the inspiration specialist.
I was in my comfort zone. I was doing just enough to get by. I was working on a job. They paid me just enough to keep me from quitting, and I worked just hard enough to keep from getting fired. How many know people like that? Blink your eyes and you understand what I'm talking about. I was parked. I knew I could do more. But when my mama died, it took something out of me. When I went through a divorce, it took something out of me. When my best friend died, it took something out of me. I paused. And somebody said that life is like an onion. You have to peel it one layer at a time. And sometimes you cry. Life's going to happen to you when you have a dream. You're going to get slapped around. And don't take it personal. Don't ask, why did this have to happen to me? Why not you? Who would you suggest? You want to give us some names, some email addresses? And don't tell everybody. 80% don't care, and 20% glad it's you. It's called life. Suck it up and move on. Get over it. It happens to everybody. Here's the other thing, is you look at your goals and look at your dreams. When you're going through some stuff, repeat after me, please. When things go wrong, don't go with them. Yes, write that down. When things go wrong, don't go with them. When you're working on a business deal, you're counting on some money. Someone said you will get the loan, and it falls through. You have an event, and the people that you thought would be there and support you, they don't come through. Or someone turns against you, or you get ripped off. It's going to happen to you. Happened to me. Someone stole all my products. My database, over 180,000 names and addresses. It's not personal. It's going to happen to everybody. It does. 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. Walt Disney had he filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns. It's called life. But I got a saying, when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. You've got the power in you to do that. You've got something special. You've got comeback power. Here's the other thing. Let us say together, it's possible. It's necessary. It's me. Yes, write that down. It's me. Take ownership for your life. Nobody can live your dream for you but you. Nobody's going to take care of your business like you. Stop coming up with excuses. Don't give yourself permission to continue to live a small life. You can't fit a big dream into a small life. Give yourself permission to go for it, to test yourself, to challenge yourself, to live full. I like the saying, always strive to get on top in life, because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. The reason you're here is because there's something in you that says, I can do more. This just can't be it. There's something in you. There's a calling on your life. There's something in your heart that caused you to get dressed and spend the money to go to seminar after seminar, and listen to message after message and speaker after speaker. Because there's something in you that tells you this is not it for you. You have not peaked here. There's more in you than you are expressing. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what's in store for you if you challenge yourself, if you persist and persevere, if you take ownership for your life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. Create what you want. You have the power in you to do more than you can ever begin to imagine, to control your destiny, to make a difference in our children, to make a difference on the planet, to make an impact. Let us say together, it's me. And let us say together, it's hard. Say it like you know it. Say it's hard. Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard. There are people who have seen their retirements taken away from them by the corporations that they work for. They were within 2 or 3 years of retiring, and they had it taken from them. The number one entrepreneurs in this country now are senior citizens. The number one employer, number 2, McDonald's and Walmart. And there's nothing wrong with those jobs. I guarantee you those people did not have a plan to end up living their lives at the end of life with those types of jobs. And they didn't have a plan like you have, and while you're investing in yourself, not to. And it's hard. There are people making choices between purchasing prescription drugs or paying for gas or a mortgage note. It's hard when you're working on a job for 20 years, 30 years, give them some good years, and then they come in and tell you, we've downsized. In other words, you're fired. And then you have to start all over again. How many of you know it's hard? Raise your hands, please. It's hard.
So what you just heard was a phenomenal portion of a speech given by one of my favorite speakers, and that's Mr. Les Brown. I have been a fan of him for years now, and it just never fails. Whenever I hear something that he shares, I always feel rejuvenated. I always feel like I hear God moving. I feel like I get interesting and different takes on wisdom. I love how he turns the phrase, right, y'all? He says so many things in that short amount of time where he can really turn the phrase and he makes you think, right? And so there was something he said, and that inspired the title of today's Mentor from Afar, and I'm calling it, Don't Go With Them. Now, I loved how he said, you know, how your problems, things may go one way or the problems may go one way. And when he threw that don't go with them on the end, that just did something to my soul right there, because I think that's usually the problem that most of us have. I can't speak for everybody, but I know for a lot of people, that's where we get stuck. Because we go with the problem. We go with the foolery. We continue to move in the direction of the thing that is least benefiting us. And usually we don't know until most times it's too late. And then we have to figure out how to start over, reconfigure what we've done, and try to start back at one. So with that being said, I jotted down a couple of things that he said that really just moved me, and it just led me to begin to think about how, you know, we have so much control by God giving us free will that sometimes I don't think we understand how to use it, and we don't get the magnitude of what that means. And with that, it's like, you know, God, essentially, he's not micromanaging us. He watches everything that we do, but that's why I think some people struggle with believing that there is a God, and then they get stuck on, well, there is nobody up there because we have to do what we have to do. But I think even the way that's presented is a part of his divine plan, because I always say, you can't tell me that there's not something else going on. It's not a God in the sky. It's not something else happening, because I can't even tell you how my body works. I can't name all of the blood vessels and how I'm able to speak and articulate. I don't know how all of that stuff works. And even no doctor in the world knows how all of that works. No human being knows how all of that works. It's only our Creator that knows how that works. So when I think about that, you know, it just makes me really pull back from myself for a second, and I step outside of myself and I have to look And I have to start counting the cost and paying attention to the things that I give life to, because, you know, something he said that I really, really, really loved. He said, don't live your life at the end of your life. Let me tell you, if you keep getting caught up in what if, and this is just how it has to be, you will wake up one day and your life will be almost over, and that's when you will decide to start living. There's a difference between us being in a season where we have to pay our dues. There's a difference between being in a season where things are going immaculately and just incredibly. And it's a different meaning when we go through a valley, and it's a different meaning when we go through a high place. These things are all working together, and God still puts us in a position to decide, okay, listen, I got this, but I'm giving you your free will to see how you're going to make this work together for you. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to take the righteous way out? Are you going to take the I failed, I quit way out? Which way are you going to choose? And I think that's the gift and the curse of having free will, because instead of God snatching us from us making a bunch of foolish mistakes or us, ruining our lives, he's like, listen, that's the whole option. Like, I can't do both, and then we still wonder why we still have grace. We still wonder why we feel protected. And it's because no matter what we do, it doesn't matter what it looks like, God still is covering us. He's still covering us. Now, I actually love Mentor from Afar, because what it does is it gives us all an opportunity to really examine all of the different resources that we have in people. With the way social media is set up, the way the internet, all of those things are set up, we have far more access to people that can add more value to our lives. So with that, I am just so happy to have the exposure from Les Brown, because he's, it's expensive to see Les Brown. He's all that, and sometimes if you can maybe catch him, that's great. But for the most part, in order to be in his presence and at some of the things that he's at, is typically in a conference or in some place that's hard to get into. So I thank God for all of the mentors from Afar each week, because we have this dope access and we can really kind of marinate on some of the gems, and we're not necessarily inundated with having to take it all in at one time. That's what I love about this, because we can take our little bite-sized chunks. We can take little pieces of it and we can marinate on it and see which parts really stick out for us. Now, he said a few things that really stuck out to me. So, one of the main things, and I wrote down a few things just to kind of chop it up with y'all, but he said, when you fall, land on your back, man. I never heard that before. I thought that was so dope. He said, land on your back so you can look up. Because, y'all, if you look up, you can go up. So how many of y'all done fell and you done fell on your side? You done fell on your face. I need you to turn over and look up. Because that is going to be the thing to help you get up to where it is that you need to be. But when you're looking down, when you're looking to the side, you're not paying attention, you're going to put yourself at a deficit. And that's what you don't want to do. In fact, that's the main thing the enemy wants you to do, because he knows if you're not looking up, you won't see the Father. He knows that. So, and even though we know the Father is omnipotent and he's everywhere all around us, we know, like my favorite song, you can win as long as you keep your head to the sky, be optimistic. That's where your optimism is. You have to look up, because if you keep looking down, he also said, you want to reach for the top because it's too crowded at the bottom. That's another reason why you don't want to look down. Looking down, the bottom, all of those things are synonymous with each other. You want to go above that. You want to go above and beyond. You want to look ahead. You want to look to the top. You don't want to be caught up in paying attention to things that literally they're designed to keep you from excelling. It's designed to keep you from actually living your best life. Nah, this is not what you want. Another thing he said that stuck out to me, he said, it's possible. It's possible. One of my favorite quotes, only he who can see the invisible can do the impossible, by Frank Gaines. You got to think it before it exists. My boy Joe said that in his rap. You got to think it before it exists. Listen, you have got to start paying attention to the things that you think are impossible. And if you are a Christian, if you are a believer, and even if you're not, if you're listening to this today, just take this little bit of advice. Nothing is impossible with God. And I don't care who you are. It's probably impossible with you if it's that big, because that's just how it's set up. Because guess what? If things weren't impossible, then we wouldn't need God for anything. And that's why the Bible says with man it's impossible, but with God all things are possible. So when he said that, that stuck out to me too, because I know it's confirmation for my own life. I cannot wait to give my full on testimony, y'all. Like this last year, oh my God, I am telling you it is possible. I'm a living witness. Another thing he says that is necessary. It is necessary for you to go through this. Whatever you are going through, stop trying to skip a step. Don't try to speed your way through it like a speed demon. You're not a demon. You can take your time. Go through that thing top flight like an angel. Do that thing angelic style. You ain't got to be no speed demon. Chill out. Pump your brakes, baby. You don't have to do that. Because at the end of the day, when you really pay attention to everything that's going on, you quiet yourself and you realize whatever day it is, that's what day it is. Whatever tomorrow going to be, that's what tomorrow going to be. Whatever time it is, that's what time it is. What I mean by that is simply this. It is what it is. So take your L's now. Do what you have to do now. Pay your debt. Pay your bills. Do all of the things that you have to do in this season. Pay your dues. So that when you get to the season of prosperity and harvest, you won't have to go back. You won't have to double back because you tried to eat the fruit or eat the food before it was done. You know, don't skip a step because everything is necessary. And y'all, one of the most powerful things that he said that really, really just touched me, he said, don't give yourself permission to live a small life. How many of you listening to me now, you could be rich, balling out of control, popular, famous, everybody jocked out, everybody know you dig, all of that good stuff. But you legit in your mind, you know that there are choices and decisions you've made, and you know you have given yourself permission to live a small life. It might look big and grandiose to everyone else, but you know that there may be a pulling and a tugging from God for you to go another way. It could be something else that he's telling you to do. And then just like he said, he's like, yeah, you could be balling and doing all kind of stuff, but something will be tugging at you at the end of the day. That could be you. Another thing, if you are in a job that you don't like, or you live in a life you're not pleased with, you have given yourself permission to accept that. So you're like, okay, Robin, if I did that, how do I fix it? Well, undo it. Figure out the steps to get out of that situation. It's really not physics. You know, and this is the thing that I had to tell my old foolish behind, because I was so foolish and silly, you know, and just downright making stupid decisions and choices over the course of years. You know, that's just, it sickens me to hear myself say that. But at the same time, I don't have no regrets and I'm not tripping. I used to be tripping, but I understand now it's going to cause somebody else not to trip. If you have not, I want you to hit the link below this episode. And I dropped a prophetic word the other day called taking L's. And I think it might have been maybe 2 or 3 days ago as a pop-up. I didn't necessarily advertise it. But if you feel led to, I want you to listen to that, because that's what it's talking about. I tell you a little bit of my personal testimony in this season, and I tell you how, look, learn from my L's. So you don't have to take those same L's, because you're going to have to take some. That's just what life is. That's why when the word says we have tribulations, he didn't say we weren't going to have no stuff. He didn't say weapons weren't going to form. He just said they weren't going to prosper. He didn't say that there wasn't going to be trials and tribulations. He just said he'll carry us through them. We get grace and mercy. Okay? So I think sometimes a lot of people are naive and they think because they've committed to the Lord, or that because they do right things and they're just a nice person and they're so great and they have the best intentions that nothing's going to happen to them. That's not real. In fact, the people who do the right thing the most usually get hit the hardest, because the enemy don't like that. You on his turf. You keeping people from him. So you really be making him angry and mad. So he's going to come at you a lot harder than he would somebody who was on his team, because they're not a bother. It seemed like everything perfect and flowing, but you already know what that too. The people who doing the stuff that they're not supposed to be doing, oh, trust me, they always fall. They could be living their best life, taking pictures, everything's so perfect, everything is fantastic, and it's going to all crumble, because if God didn't give it to you, it's not going to be worth nothing, because you already know only what God gives to you will last. And that's why when he talks about these things, it just really, really gives me, perspective. Because at the end of the day, y'all, you have to create what you want. No one else is responsible for that. God has given you sound mind, ideas, and I tell you guys all the time, if you have not, check out the Hack series. It's in the episode log. I have 15 episodes of Hacks, but I talk about God giving you his creative genius. Y'all, you have not because you ask not. You don't have any ideas. You don't know what to do next. Well, why are you not asking him for it? And I don't mean just, oh God, please. Be serious about it. Don't you go hard for the things you want? Don't you work extra hours to get them shoes or to pay that note? Don't you go hard for somebody you like that you date and you cook a nice meal, you get them a gift. You put effort toward the things you want. Well, if you want God's creative genius, if you want things to pop off for you, well, then you have to position yourself for that to happen. It's not just going to fall out of the sky. It's not. And sometimes God is just going to bless you just because you're obedient. And even though he knows it's dried up, even though he knows that your heart is pure and you don't necessarily have the resources to do the thing that you want to do, he'll send somebody with those resources. And I'll tell you this too, before I wrap up, this is dropping in my spirit. Not only do you pray for God to give you his creative genius, but you also ask God to put cheerful givers in your life. If there are things that you need and you've done everything you could on your level and you know you need God to step in, there's nothing wrong with that, because even the richest person needs somebody. Even the poorest person needs somebody. And trust me when I tell you something, just because somebody appears to have it all, it doesn't mean that they do. So don't ever feel like, but I don't ask nobody for nothing. I'm going to tell you something. That's something in let me tell y'all something. See that right there, that line? See, I don't ask nobody for nothing. I don't like to ask nobody. Lord, let me tell you something. That is pride. And many people feel that they say that statement with pride, like stick their chest out, because I don't have to ask nobody for nothing. Just keep saying that and find out how God will take everything from you, and you're going to have to ask somebody for something, or you're just not going to have it. Another lesson I had to learn in life. So that's why when you think about these things, creating what you want, it is best before you fall to put that pride aside and figure out exactly what it is that God is telling you to do. And again, land on your back. Remember, all things are possible with God. It is necessary for you to go through. Stop making excuses. Don't give yourself any more permission to live a small life. Don't go to the bottom, because the bottom is crowded. And don't live your life at the end of your life. And guys, I just said it, I'm going to say it again. Create what you want. Create the product, create the service, create the relationship, create the ideas, create the clothes, the vehicles, the teams, the groups, the organizations. I don't care what it is. Create a new nail polish, build a new refrigerator, create a new way to cut paper. I mean, you can just come up with all kind of wacky ideas, and nobody will have that idea but you, because you've added that prayer, Lord, give me your creative genius. And that is what Les Brown inspires in me. He always gives me that fuel to just stay motivated and to stay inspired, and always to keep God first. You know, like I don't want to do it without him. You know, I used to laugh all the time because people say stuff like God is my co-pilot. I'm like, nah, dog. I respect that. That's cool. I'm a passenger. He don't need my help. What do you need me on the side of him for? What do you need a co-pilot for? I don't have the juice for that. I am very humbled by him allowing me to be on the plane, preferably in first class, because I like to think that because I'm a king's kid, he gonna seat me in first class anyhow. But with that being said, or even a private jet, you know what I mean? This is God we talking about, right, y'all? We king's kids, right? So for me, yeah, put me in that private jet, you dig, and he can fly it. He's my pilot. He don't need no code, nothing from me. Again, I ain't mad at nobody else with the bumper sticker. If you listening and that's something you say, you got the little cup on your desk, God bless you. I'm not hating on you. You do that, baby. But let me tell you, your girl know I'm not about to sell you no wooden nickels. I'm not about to lie and act like I got it together. I don't even want that responsibility. My life has completely changed when I have relinquished control and given everything to the Lord. Everything has changed. I stopped making arbitrary decisions. I stopped involving myself in situations and with people who were not giving me what God said I deserved. I stopped giving people less than because I knew something wasn't right and I had to take my own responsibility for certain situations. But as you do that, God changes everything for you. It changes your entire life. And with that being said, I know it's hard. This is not a cakewalk. I know it's hard. But one of the beautiful things about it being hard is that you always have help. You always have help. And the thing about God is he gives us unlimited help. He spends unlimited time with us if we spend it with him. And I say it all the time. And it's Bible. If he is with you, you cannot fail. So I want you guys to take this one thing with you. The next time the problems come, the next time the enemy sends his savage little demons to come after you, the next time the messy people come, the next time the grumpy little thoughts in your head, the annoying thoughts trying to tell you that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're never going to change your situation. The next time those haters come and tell you that your idea sucks and is not going to do anything. The next time those little silly thoughts come into your mind and make you question all of the hard work you've done. The next time those people come in and they try to tell you you're not good enough. The next time somebody comes in and they try to convince you that the very thing that God told you was real is not. When all of those things try to come and get you, make sure that you don't go with them. I'm wired to inspire. I hope you are too.
Thanks for listening to I'm Wired to Inspire podcast at I'mWiredToInspire.com. If you enjoyed the show, spread the word and be sure to hit the 5-star rating on iTunes. For more information on this podcast and inspirational products and services, log on to the inspirationspecialist.life or I'mWiredToInspire.com. And remember to live your authentic purpose. Thanks again and see you next time.